This is the train lie R7 left turnout, and Axel Tillman I've been consulting with, and he's been helping me upgrade these things for all the improvements that had to be made to them. First thing to do was they made new beddings, and the guardrails are spaced like they should be. The original ones were not, and there was too much of a gap in the original ones, so now there's a appropriate gap, so being closer together. So the other issue was the frog area, and the frog was the metal part of it was very small before. That's been improved by having a larger frog. Now the first metal frogs Axel sent me are the brass ones, and they were made really too thick. They stuck up, and they would cause wheels to bounce up over them when traversing it. This one has the nickel-plated, I presume it's nickel-plated brass, because these are nickel-plated rails, brass rails. So Axel sent me two new metal frog inserts, and I have a left turnout here, and a right one here, still with the brass one in, that sticks up too high. And it turns out that the two Axel sent me are they're made only for the left turnout and not the right one. So perhaps it's because I've noticed the difference between the two nickel-plated ones he sent me. There's a taper in one that happens to be an installed one here, and no taper in this one. When you measure from end to end, I measured, say, 70 thousandths on the large end for the thickness, and but 65 thousandths on the pointed end. That's the depth of the thing. And this one here that I didn't install is even. It's 70 thousandths approximately on both ends of it. So it turns out that in this particular left turnout, putting the one that's even at 70 thousand on both ends resulted in the point of the frog sticking up too high, and the wheels would bounce over it. Not as bad as the original brass one, but still quite noticeable and undesirable. So I put the tapered one in this one here, and here I'm going to run a flat car here. Now this is an Aristocrat flat car I lowered by taking USA Train's trucks, and USA Train part number 2033. They're nylon plastic trucks. They happen to have Aristocrat metal wheels, and that doesn't matter. And I was able to lower the car by actually lowering the bolster within the truck, rather than, say, buying a lowered floor and retrofitting the car with that method. So at any rate, the difference, the main essence here to show with respect to the turnout, is that the USA Trains trucks are really non-sprung. Aristo trucks, like this one here, have springs in them, and here's an example of Bettendorf Aristo truck where you can compress the springs so they have some equalization given the weight of a car on them and going over perturbations in the track. So at any rate, this truck doesn't, this USA Trains truck is rigid because the spring pack is molded into the plastic. It's not real springs. So here's an example where it runs nicely over the new frog. So let me switch the turnout to the diverging path so it can be seen easier. So I'll demonstrate it here. Notice it goes nice and smoothly if I push the car over the frog. So here's the one that's not modified, still has the brass frog in it. And it bounces noticeably. Over the brass frog that sticks up too high. So that improvement has worked quite well when I put this one that happened to be tapered in there. Now I don't know if that's intentional, where you would get two inserts and you'd pick them or you'd shim them somehow. But when the factory makes these, they probably do some sort of selection process to and test them to make sure that, like I'm doing here, the car goes over it very nicely. I'm powering an engine up to run on the test track here with the Trainline R7 Turnouts with the newest frogs, the nickel-plated one, installed here to demonstrate how smooth it is when the car goes over it. So here's an Aristocrat flat car that I lowered by modifying it and by using USA Train's 2033 nylon trucks and lowering the trucks rather than the car. But it goes quite smoothly over the turnout with the new frog. Now here the wheels bounce up and down when it goes over the turnout with the brass previous frog. Here it is in the other direction, reversing the train. Again, this is over the turnout that has the brass frog that sticks up too high. Now it's entering the turnout that has the newer frog that's been installed, the nickel-plated one that doesn't stick up, and the car goes over very smoothly. And of course the car was retrofitted with KD center set 907 couplers too.